would have suited City at that point, because I thought up until the whole situations and the incidents that happened, Arsenal were formidable and didn't look like City were going to encroach on them and get any shots on target in general. So for me, I think they would have walked away from that game and been happy with a point. But
they got all three because of this goal, and they just keep going, the relentless manner.
Yeah, that's what, when you have people, this is the first run Rodri makes forward, to be honest with you, into the box that I remember, which was so free, and the ball from Kevin was just a little bit under hit. He gets a flick on, but he just stays in there and prods it in the back of the net. And when you're on those winning streaks, it just seems hard to stop the winning streak, and that's what seems to be happening for City at the minute. They're just picking up 3 points, even sometimes when they may not deserve it too much. They're still coming away with the result that they actually wanted.
How difficult for an Arsenal player is that to take when you've given so much and played so well?
Yeah, it is, but it's part of their development, part as a team, going through adversity and feeling how you feel right now. They'll be really disappointed in the dressing room, but you've got to have those feelings in order to then progress and make sure that you don't lose games like that. And their performance for the whole of the game really was pretty exceptional, I thought, against a brilliant team. And on the flip side of that, City, as you said, just know how to win games, and that's what champions do. And I think overall, from an entertainment point of view, we had everything. And
indeed,
we've got Dermot.
And indeed, talking points. Before we speak to Dermot Gallagher, very quickly, did you think that was a penalty for Manchester City?
When I first saw it, I thought it possibly was, but then not. And so I was unsure, and I've come down on the belief that it wasn't a penalty. There wasn't enough contact for him to go down. He stayed up. There's a little bit of a shirt pull, and then he goes down. So if that's outside the box, I think he's simulating. There, he's done Xhaka. He's squared him up. There is some contact on his leg, but that's not enough to send him down. He doesn't go down and takes another step. Then he decides to go down. So no, I don't think it is a penalty.
Sean?
This is not biased, but I actually do think it is a penalty from an attacking point of view for me. I think after he does go past him the first time, even like you said, the first part was a little contact, but then to have another tug, I think that's like one step too far for me. So for me, penalty.
OK, so Dermot, Happy New Year, by the way. Nice quiet start. So Sean thinks it was a penalty, Lee doesn't, but that's irrelevant. So then it goes to VAR. Is that a clear and obvious error in your mind to overturn?
I thought it was a penalty when I saw it, Steve.
That wasn't what I asked, Dan.
I thought it was a penalty because I think Xhaka takes him with his thigh, otherwise he'd have been past him, and I think then he grabs his shirt. Stewart, obviously, I don't think sees this, but I think Jared Gillett was really, really good. He recommended Stewart go, and he talked him through it. He talked him through there. There's the contact. There's the grab of the shirt. I think once he talked him through it like that, Stewart agreed with him and gave a penalty. I think they've come to the right conclusion.
Dermot, it's Lee, obviously. See, I've got to be careful where I go here, because you're looking at that from a referee's point of view. I as a player, if that's Silva, if I'm Silva and I bang into Xhaka like that, he's going down. You can see the bang. I get that. But that's not enough. He takes another step there, and then he decides to go down, and the shirt pull is after that. I think the referee's got that on-field decision as not a penalty, which is he doesn't think it is, but to overturn that as clear and obvious, I don't think is at all. You see him; he takes 2 steps and then he dives. So it's not clear and obvious. We had one in the first half, which was exactly the same. I think that was contact on Odegaard's boot by the goalkeeper. So it's a foul, but it's not clear and obvious, so you stick to the on-field decision. And I think that should have been the same, and it wasn't. So that's the inconsistency. VAR's not there to decide whether it's a penalty or not. It's there to decide whether there's been a clear and obvious error, and I don't think you can say that. My opinion is you don't say that on that occasion.
You're certainly right, Lee. The VAR's not there to referee the game. It's not there to judge the referee's decision. It is to say, has he made a clear and obvious mistake? Again, you're right. You know, I look at it as a referee because that's what I was trained to do. Jared Gillett would look at it as a referee as a VAR because that's what he's trained to do. And I felt that once, if you look here, this is why I think it's a penalty.
Is it a clear and obvious error, Dermot?
I think it is, because I think that's a foul. And I think
No,
if he doesn't foul him, he's past him and he's got a clear run.
But Dermot, sorry to interrupt you, but the whole point of VAR, we've got 3 people in the studio and we've got a different opinion of whether or not. So that, to me, says it's not a clear and obvious error because one person thinks it is, one person thinks it isn't. The fact that you're looking at it now going, well, it is a penalty. I don't care what you think, with all due respect. I don't care what the guy in VAR thinks about penalty or not. Is it a clear and obvious mistake? And I don't think you can say that because I'm sure there's a couple of camera guys that have got a different opinion than me and Sean. So that's where VAR has to be. My job is to decide whether it's a clear and obvious, not whether it's a penalty or not.
Yeah, the difficulty is, Lee, that every foul is a subjective decision.
Correct.
You know, if it's inside the area or outside the area, that's a fact. But in subjective decisions, it's down to the person looking at it. And Jared Gillett, when he looks at this, he thinks the referee's made a clear error because he feels that's a penalty. He feels that if he'd have seen that on the field, he would have given a penalty. And what he does, he refers that to Stewart. Bear in mind, Lee, that there's no obligation for Stewart to give a penalty. It's only a recommendation to go across.
Yeah, but we know how that works,
well,
Dermot.
Yeah, but he can go across. He retains all options. He could have went across, and you said about simulation.
Well, so give me some percentages on how many times that happens where a referee goes over and sticks with his own line.
I would think minimally, for the simple reason is the VAR is saying to the referee, I think you made a clear and obvious error. And that alone would say he's only stepped in when he thinks it's wrong.
OK, sorry to interrupt your personal conversation. But, one question now, which an awful lot of people are asking, so I'm asking it on their behalf, Dermot. Why then in the first half, in the incident that Lee's talking about, was the referee not asked to go and look at this in terms of consistency, if the second half was and the first half wasn't?
Because I think there's still a reasonable element of doubt here. You know, you look at different angles. You look there, it looks as though Ederson clears the ball first. You look here, it looks as though Odegaard gets the ball and he gets the boot.
Well, that angle there, Dermot, that particular one, watch his boot in between. Yeah. It's obvious he does not get the ball. On that angle, the other angles, it doesn't matter. The one that shows you him kicking Odegaard's foot onto the ball is the one that the ref goes, he's made a foul. But is that clear and obvious? No. So you stick with the online decision, on-field decision, surely, which he did.
Which the referee on the VAR
But then he didn't in the second half.
No, I think they're different incidents, Lee, and that's my point. It's that Jared Gillett wasn't there to be judge and jury on Stewart's decisions. He's not there to re-referee the football match. He's there, I think, on the first one, he felt there was enough doubt. On the second one, he felt that it was a clear and obvious error because he felt it was a foul.
Sean,
were
you a little concerned in the first half that was going to get looked at from the first monitor?
Yeah, for me, I think, and even I said to Lee after, the more and more I've seen that replay, the more and more I feel like All City just got away with one there that could have possibly been given as a penalty. For me, like, I can't really see how much of the ball Ederson gets. For me, it looks like he doesn't get any of the ball, and it looks like he gets a bit of foot.
This is the one.
He gets a bit of foot there, which kicks the ball the other direction. But so, like I said, the more I'm seeing that, like, that would have been a penalty for me as well, I think, as well.
OK. So, Bernardo Silva's was awarded, as we know. Riyad Mahrez had a long time to wait, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. There's a few little tricks going on from the Arsenal lads scratching the penalty, but it's part and parcel of the game for me. I wouldn't necessarily say I agree with it, but it is what. But he steps up and dispatches it beautifully, and it's 1-1 at that time.
And that's a big moment in the game.
It was, because he got City back in it, and then we're in a position where, you know, what happened next 2 or 3 minutes.
2 minutes, 2 seconds, to be precise, as we entered into 2022. 2 yellow cards in 78 seconds.
Yeah, we see...
some going, that.
Yeah. And that, apparently it's for dissent, for arguing about the penalty, not the scratching of the thing. Then he does this. And when you're on a yellow, you can't do that. He's on the halfway line, his men behind him, Jesus does a little bit of a trick on him, but he can let him have the ball on his chest. He's not going anywhere. But that's rash, and it's the second yellow card. There's no doubt about that. The first one was silly, and that one was a little bit stupid as well. And that, now you've gone down to 10 against a brilliant City side. Even though they're not playing well, you're going to be under it.
And Dermot, just as Lee was alluding to there, confirmed the first yellow was dissent for Gabriel.
Yeah, dissent after the penalty was scored, Steve, which he's paid a heavy price for, hasn't he, with a foul afterwards.
OK. Champions are behind. I'll say that again. They've won 10 in a row. The champions are losing at half-time to Arsenal, who thoroughly deserve to be in front. How much have you enjoyed that performance from them?
Outstanding. There's no other word for it. They've taken the game to City. They've dominated in midfield. They've dominated with their movement. They're two wide players. Saka and Martinelli have absolutely taken the two fullbacks to the cleaners, and it's been a brilliant performance. And the opposite of that from Man City's point of view, there doesn't seem to be any energy. The passing's off. They're not creating any spaces. The closing down from Arsenal has been brilliant. They've mixed the game up, passing it short and knocking it long from the goalkeeper, and City just can't stay with him in the wide areas.
Yeah, what's wrong with City?
I have to honestly agree with a lot Lee just said, to be honest. It's been strange to see, especially in the pressing areas when they haven't got the ball. They seem to be like a second too late, which is then allowing Arsenal to break through the midfield as if though they wasn't there and get it out to the wide players, which are, like you said, causing all sorts of problems. I don't think we've defended in them areas particularly well. And I think when Pep gets in, he's going to let them all know that, and hopefully the ways and remedies to fix the situation.
And for the goalie, City had the ball in the Arsenal half.
Yeah, they did. And you look at De Bruyne here, he loves this position because he's in space. Ben White reacts on his second touch, which is terrible, takes it off him. But just look at Odegaard, he just wanders into the number 10 space. They get it to him, and that allows them to go out down the left. And as I said, the two wide players have been outstanding. I think Cancelo, with what's gone on during the week with him, you know, he looks like he's not at the races at all. There's a little block here from Lacazette. Whether he knows he's blocking Ake, I'm not sure, but it just gives him a little bit of space, Saka, to get his shot away. It's an absolutely outstanding goal. And again, we're going to see, if you just watch Saka at the top of the screen, he's not in it at the moment, but he's looking to try and get on the inside of Ake, and he does that, and the goalkeeper's no chance.
City's fullbacks have had real problems.
Yeah, they are having real problems at the minute, but that's also to the credit of how well Saka and Martinelli have been doing. I think if they weren't playing the way they were playing, and they're doing that on the defensive side as well, but the way they're breaking, they're taking them. Look, he already wants it in behind, and Ake's worried about that, but there's too much space for him to prevent that, so he gets in there, and Arsenal are out past their main players, but it's just fantastic to see. I love seeing wingers take people on, put crosses in the box. It makes other players feel like we need to get in the box because it's going to come in at some point, and they keep doing it time and time. And here, this ball is some pass, by the way. And the first touch just kills it, and then he's away again. And he's been fantastic for me, for the last 7 games I've seen him play. He's played fantastically, and the pass is there. And I think he could have took it I would have took it first time, just because there's too much margin of error. If you take a first touch, it has to literally be perfect. And this one here again, and he's just waiting out wide, and the fullbacks are going in tight, and there's so much space for them that it's hard to see both sides of it. And Dickie will tell you what it's like as a fullback. If you're in that far and your winger's out that wide, it's so hard to see both parts of it.
You've got to give a lot of credit to the two midfield players, Xhaka in the middle and Partey, because they're allowing the wingers to stay high and wide, and that makes you a little bit short on the defensive side of things. And De Bruyne has been, in the first 10 minutes, we said, how free is De Bruyne? But City couldn't get the ball to him. They haven't done that, and they've allowed the two fullbacks to be put under pressure on the wide areas, and it's really paid off for Arsenal.
Quick word on Arsenal's appeal for a penalty.
I think the referee's got it right. Is this a clear and obvious error? We were thinking at the time, did he get anything of it? It looks like he does there, but then from this angle, it looks like Odegaard's foot just gets there before, touches it. Whose foot touches it, we're not sure. So there is an element of doubt there, and the referee didn't give it, so you stick with the online decision for me.
OK.
Well, Joseph, what a party.
Yeah, it was a great victory for the players, the fans, and everyone.
What do you think about your performance?
I think it was good, and each game it keeps getting better.
We need this match, no, with 3 goals.
Yeah, it was really great because we fought hard for this victory, and everyone deserved to be happy.
Bueno, es el mejor partido de la temporada en lo que va de Liga, ¿no?
No sé si el mejor, pero sí el que hemos sabido jugar con el marcador a nuestro favor, que nos estaba costando mucho. y sobre todo felices por ganar en casa, porque nos estaba costando muchísimo. Desde que hay público en el estadio solo habíamos ganado un partido de no sé cuántos, o sea que hoy el partido creo que era fundamental porque nos ponemos también a 3 puntos del Español, que es un rival directo, para alejarnos de ahí abajo, para irnos tranquilos de vacaciones y pensar en lo que viene.
Con el partido contra el Valencia también nos ponemos por delante, pero el Chacho se quejaba, ¿no?, un poco que nos había faltado controlar el partido. Hoy es lo que tú dices, ¿no? Se ha conseguido.
Bueno, sobre todo hoy no hemos tenido errores individuales que nos pagaron contra el Valencia. Creo que es un partido para sacar conclusiones positivas. Hemos vuelto a ganar en casa, tenemos que hacernos fuertes aquí de lo que queda de temporada, porque fuera de casa sí el equipo está respondiendo bien y tenemos que seguir esta línea.
Cuéntame el gol, ¿no? Porque ha sido una jugada rápida, pero cuando te ha llegado ha sido como mucha pausa, las pican. ¿Cómo ha sido?
Bueno, recibo de Hugo, controlo y normalmente Diego López suele salir a tapar. Veo muchos partidos y Diego López en los 1 para 1 suele salir a tapar, entonces yo controlo y él no ve lo que voy a hacer, entonces intento picársela un poquito y cruzársela con tranquilidad.
¿Hugo ya tocaba?
Tocaba, pero ahora mismo sentimos una alegría inmensa, ya no solo por el partido, sino estamos trabajando como el que más, estamos en el día a día muy sacrificados, con los pies en la tierra, con humildad, y al final somos una piña y hoy nos lo merecíamos y se lo merecía también la afición, que pues mira, no estamos ganando, no nos están saliendo los partidos en casa y aún así la afición cree en nosotros, nos apoya y nos transmite el cariño día a día.
Eso te iba a decir, has dicho que sois una piña equipo, pero la afición también. Hemos visto ese momento tan bonito ahí en la esquina.
Sí, sabemos que le debemos mucho a esta afición, no solo de esta temporada, sino que por desgracia hemos vivido un par de temporadas muy jodidas sobre todo a nivel mental, muy difíciles de sacar, y las hemos sacado esas temporadas gracias al apoyo de ellos. En otra situación, en otro equipo, la afición lo dejaría de lado, y aquí, cuanto peor iban las cosas, más estaban con uno y con el equipo. Y eso es de agradecer y se lo agradeceremos hoy, mañana y en un futuro.
En lo personal, vuelves después de varias semanas que parecía que sí, pero al final no, 90 minutos con asistencia.
La verdad que bueno, no estoy al 100%, pero creo que he podido ayudar al equipo. Venía de mucho tiempo parado, unos problemas que no se me daban ido. Entrenaba, tenía que volver a parar, volví a aparecer, volví a parar. Bueno, espero que ahora sea el fin de esta lesión del carajo, porque ya estoy frito, y que pueda ayudar y contribuir al equipo.
Saca 2001, 2022...
por el 2022 a tope. Tenemos que seguir con los pies en la tierra, saber quiénes somos, de dónde venimos, y con esta afición, con el equipo, con el compañerismo y el sacrificio, no quiero ser pesado, pero creo que son las claves para mirar hacia adelante en un futuro.
Gracias, Hugo.
Gracias a vosotros.
Te voy a pedir lo último.